Welcome to CWM University, where we all learn together. And this series is going to be on 30 classroom management tips. Tip number 1, leave your ego at the door. My first year in teaching, I learned this really quick. So I had a student that said something that I deemed disrespectful to me. And I asked him, I said, would you talk to your mama like that? And guess what the student said? Yes, I'll talk to my mama like that. And I said, well, time for me to go. And this was me making the situation about me, which it shouldn't have been. It's all about the student. So if I wanted the student to comply with my request and do it respectfully, I need to remind him what respect looked like in my classroom. And that takes us into our next point, which is eliminate the power struggle. Me asking the student, does he talk to his mother like that, and him having to respond the way he did, I was engaging in a power struggle. The energy was going bing, boing between both of us, and I was not setting a good example for the other students in my classroom. If I make sure to think that everything in the classroom is about the students, then I won't be in a power struggle. I could just correct the behavior and go back over my expectations and what I expect. So we're not going to make it about us. We're going to eliminate the power struggle. We don't want to set an example for the other students that say that every time they say something to us that we don't like, we're going to get into an argument with them. And most of all, we're going to make sure that everything is student focused. When everything in your classroom is student focused, you're not worried about how you feel about certain situations. You're not worried if you like all the lights on, but maybe the whole class likes a light off with a lamp on. We're trying to see what makes our students the most comfortable in order for them to learn the material they need to learn and to become better people. So just make sure that it's all about the student. Tip number 2 is wait time. And this wait time refers to the time that you give the students to answer questions in your classroom. After asking a student a question, it is recommended that you give the student 3 to 5 seconds to answer the question. In the classroom, what I would usually do in my head, after I ask a student a question, they raise their hand and I call on them, I would count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and give them time to give an appropriate answer. I use Mississippi because I'm a Mississippi girl. Anybody else a Mississippi girl, go ahead and leave a comment in the comments. Now, if I get to 5 seconds in my head and the student has not given me an answer, I would usually try to throw the student a lifeline. I would ask other students in the classroom, can anybody else help CJ answer the question? And usually I'll say, CJ, you want to turn around and pick on one of your classmates to answer the question? And if he doesn't know the answer, he'll pick on one of his classmates and they'll help them out. Giving a student 3 to 5 seconds to process the question and then answer usually leads to a quality answer. Now, we've all had those times where we've asked a simple question, say, what's 3 times 5? Somebody answered, they raised their hand, and then they answer, blue. Had nothing to do with 3 times 5. However, if students know that when you ask questions in your classroom, you're going to give them time to think and process, they're more likely to give you a quality answer. Once we have set the standard of asking a question, giving students time, 3 to 5 seconds to process the question, and get quality answers, students' confidence automatically boosts. They know that if in the 3 to 5 seconds that my teacher gives me, I can't answer the question, she's going to throw me a lifeline, and she's going to let one of my classmates help me. Therefore, students are more than likely to participate in class and give answers that are quality, and that's what we want. Now, with using wait time, there will be times where you're looking at them, they're looking at you. You looking at them, they're looking at you. But just give them patience, give them some grace, and give them time to answer. And if they don't have the answer, give them a lifeline. Your goal is to not embarrass the students. You want them to keep participating in your classroom. So remember, 3 to 5 seconds, you can use 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Then hopefully that will lead to a quality answer. And the goal is to make sure the students have confidence in participating in class and confidence in their academics. Tip 3, visible teacher. We will talk about how moving around, being unpredictable, and proximity is very important to managing your classroom. I'm not sure about you, but when I was a student, a lot of my teachers sat in the back corner at their desk doing whatever they wanted to do, and we sat at our desk and we did whatever we wanted to do. And in order to make sure that our students are engaged in their learning, we need to move around the room and make sure our students are working and actually look at their work to see if they have any misconceptions that we can stop and address at that moment. Also, moving around makes us unpredictable. I've had many times that I'll be squatting down by a student, helping them with their work, and my problem child will stand up and start looking around the classroom, looking. And I knew then they were looking for me to see what they could get into without me noticing. But when you're unpredictable, the students don't know where you are. They don't know, like, oh, she's gonna sit at her desk all day. We can go over here and sell candy. We can write letters, pass notes. And trust me, if you teach at the schools I've taught at, they're definitely selling candy to each other. So be unpredictable. Make sure that you're engaged in the students' learning just as they should be engaged. And proximity has to be one of my favorite classroom management strategies. If you have students who are off task, not doing their work, talking a lot, just walk around. Go over there and stand by their group. Their conversation will quickly change from roadblocks to equations. Students want to please the teacher, especially when you have that relationship with them, and they want to at least seem like they're doing their work. So a lot of behaviors can be mitigated just by you being close to the student. Finally, make sure that you're moving around the classroom, be accessible to all students, especially those who are kind of shy and don't want to come to you for help. Be unpredictable. Make them wonder, where could she be now? Or where could he be now? And then also, proximity always works. It helps deter a lot of unwanted behaviors in the classroom. Tip 4 is showing concern. We will discuss how showing concern can and will help you manage your classroom. Now, I'm not as hype as this girl up here, but I do greet my students. I stand at the door and greet my students before they come in, whether it's a good morning, how are you, good afternoon, what's going on, what's up. But I make sure my students know that they are seen and I'm acknowledging them walking into my classroom. By greeting your students at the door, you're able to do a vibe check. I can look at you and see, oh, they're having a good day, or something's wrong, or they're crying. And this gives me a chance to pull students out of the line, ask them to step to the side for a minute because I wanted to talk to them. Once my students are started on their work, I talk to the student that I pulled out of line, like, hey, what's going on? And many times I've had different situations where maybe the student was just hungry and it wasn't feeling good, so they needed something to eat, which I kept snacks in my classroom to make sure if students were hungry that they had something to eat. Maybe their boyfriend or their girlfriend just broke up with them. I'm a middle school teacher through and through, and most of my teaching career was in middle school. So they just might want to talk to somebody, might just want to vent, may just need to take a couple deep breaths before they enter the classroom. But by doing this, I was able to check the vibes at the door and to make sure the vibes going into my classroom were calm, cool, and collected as much as possible. I made the decision daily to be at the door to greet my students, to the point that my students wouldn't come in my classroom unless I was at the door. Greet them at the door, check the vibes, see if there's anybody that you need to pull to the side, check on a little extra, and make the decision to do that every single day. For tip number 5, we will discuss how you are more than just a teacher, how your students have more things going on outside the classroom, and how active listening can lead to you building rapport with your students. It's always important to remember that you are more than just a teacher. You have things going on outside the classroom. You have a family, you have hobbies, you have things you like to do. So it's important that your students know that. I suggest that you share some of these hobbies with your students, maybe show them some pictures of your family, and just let them know that you're a normal person. I remember my first year teaching, I saw one of my students in the grocery store, so I spoke to them, and they just looked at me like I was a stranger. So the next day in class, I asked them, I said, what was up with that? Why do you speak back? And she said she was just in shock that she saw me in the grocery store. I think students really believe that teachers live at the school and do nothing with their lives but teach. So it's important to show them that you're a human just like they are. You have things going on just like they do. And it's a good way for them to get to know you just by sharing those small things in your life. Just like we have things going on outside of school, so do our students. We have student athletes. We have students that are in extracurricular activities, whether it may be music, band, or maybe they sing in their church choir. Maybe they're in chess club. It's very important that we understand that, we think about that and keep that in mind when we give the amount of homework that we do. And if we have a student talking about any of those activities and we overhear it, and to ask them about it and show genuine interest. And this takes us into our third point, active listening. If a student comes up to you and wants to talk to you about maybe they had a basketball game and how the basketball game went, it's important that you actively listen to them and keep in mind little things that you can bring up later. Like, hey, did y'all have a game last night? How did the game go? And if you have time, maybe go watch them play sports. That really means a lot to them. And a lot of them come up to you and tell you thank you for coming, because they know that you see them as a student in your classroom, respect them, and you know that they have things going on outside of school and that you support them, which all ties into building that rapport with the student and getting to know them as they get to know you as well. So don't forget, you are a person. Your students have more going on than just school, and to actively listen when they share. Build that rapport with your students. We have gone through tip numbers 1 through 5. Number 1 was leave your ego at the door. Number 2, we talked about wait time. Number 3, about being a visible teacher, making sure you're moving around the classroom. Number 4, showing concern for your students and making sure it's genuine. And number 5, building rapport with your students, building that relationship. Leave us a comment about which ones that you like, which ones were the best. They have a little emojis. You can drop an emoji in the comments, or let me know some that you use in your classroom that have proven to be successful. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video, and we'll be back tomorrow with tip number 6. And until next time, peace out.